video we learn conditional rendering. So before going into the coding, we need to understand what is directive. So this concept of directive comes from AngularJS, and so directives are the special HTML attributes. So HTML attributes, if you don't know, please watch our HTML section of this video series. So directives are special HTML attributes that tell to the framework, okay, I have this particular attribute, so I have some extra features with me. Okay, and each feature or each directive have some different superpower. Okay, so in LWC programming model also we have some custom directives that let you manipulate the DOM using the markup. And in LWC we have two special directives for conditional rendering, that is if true or if false. So let's go and try to understand first if true directive. So we use this directive to render the DOM element in the template if the expression is true. So DOM is nothing, it's your HTML tree. So you can think of like if you want to hide and show some text from the screen, we use this directive, that is if true. And directives always used with the template tag. Just remember this, directives always used with the template tags. Directives are the HTML attributes that gives you the superpower to play with your HTML. And in this directive also we'll take the expression. If you see the syntax, I'm applying the directive to the template tag and then I'm checking the expression. This expression follow the same rules that we have seen in the previous videos. So the expression can be a JavaScript property. The expression can be a JavaScript object with the dot notation. You can use it. You can't use array. You can't evaluate the expression. You can't use a ternary operator. You can use the getter in the JavaScript. Okay, so this is if true directive. Let's go to our code and create or use this if true in the code. So now I'm in my VS code and I don't want to continue in the same component, otherwise it's gonna be bigger and bigger. So to understand that, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a new component, and to do that we'll go to view, command palette, create lightning web component, and our component I want is hello conditional rendering. Just remember the naming convention. I'm using the camel casing, hello conditional rendering, hit enter, take the default path, and it will create our component within the LWC folder. You can see how quickly it has been created. So again, the default files are HTML, JS, and the meta file. So let's go to our JS file and say a property. We'll create a property, and I can say this property name is show is visible. I can go is visible, and I'll make it as false initially. And here in the template again I'll create a lightning card. I'll give the title. Our title I can give conditional rendering, and within the card I can give some class for the margin. So SLDS where margin around medium. Now here we're gonna write our code. So what I want is I want a text to be visible on click of the button. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a lightning button. And lightning button will take some attributes, and if you don't know the what all attribute it takes, you can go back to our component library, and in the component library we'll search for button. I usually do this. There is nothing wrong in going and taking the code, because this is the library given by Salesforce to us to get the exact look and feel. So I'll take this button. I'll take the brand one. Brand gives us blue color. Copy this. I'll come back to my VS code. I'll paste it and I'll say, okay, we are creating a lightning button. Variant is brand. Variant is just used for giving the colors. You can use different colors based on different variant. Then I'm giving the label, and I'm giving the label show data, and title is for your accessibility. So I'll say show data. We are using a handle click action, that is on click. So on click of this button, we'll call this method, and we are using some margin around the button left. So we are giving left margin here. And let's go to the JS and create a method handle click that gets called on the click of the button. But what we want to show or hide is, I'll say welcome to 0 to 0 series. Okay, so this is the text we are showing, but there is a condition given by the client. This text should be only visible when you click on the button. So how you gonna hide this text? To do that, we're gonna use the directive that we are talking, and to use the directive, we'll say template, because directives always run on the template tags, and in the template tags you have to say if true, if colon true, and the expression. So here your expression will come, and our expression is property is visible, that is initialized by false. And as we said in the slides, like if true only works when the expression evaluates to true. So when the page load, it see the property is visible is false, and it comes here and it says it's false. So whatever comes inside will not load in the browser. So we'll take our content and place it between the template. And what we want is when the user click on the button, this expression should be true and it should render on the screen. To make this value true, we need to make the property true. So we are updating the value of is visible to true. So this is how if true directive works. So if the expression is true, it will load the data in between the tags. Otherwise, it will not load the data in the HTML. So let's deploy this component. Let's go to our page. Now we have created a new component, so we need to place that component. But before that, we missed to set the meta tags. So let's go to our component and set the meta tag so that our page be visible on the app page. So I'll take this meta tag from the hello world. I'll go to hello rendering and I'll replace this. So is exposed is used so that our component is available or visible in the Salesforce, and target is these components should always visible in this page only, not on other page. You can set other targets as well, record page or the home page. So let's deploy this again. So it's deployed now. Let's go to the page, go to the gear icon, edit the page, and then we'll place our second component in the center column. So if the meta tags has been placed successfully, then you able to see your component name here. Drag this component to the middle section. Just save this and go back. So now our component is placed successfully. This is the title of our card. This is the button. By default, we are not able to show the data because our is visible property is false. And on click of that, we should able to see the data now. And now you see it's printing the data immediately. So this is how if true directive works. So let's go and understand the if false directive. So if false directive is just opposite of this, and we use this directive to render the DOM element in the template if the expression is false. So if true works if the expression is true, and if false works if the expression is false. It also holds the same properties, like expression can be a JavaScript identifier and object you can use. You can't use the ternary operator and other array methods. So let's go and see the if false directive, the code. What I'll do here is I'll create another directive if false, and we're going to use the same property here. I'll say you can't see the data. So on load is false property is false. So this directives load the content, and the content should be in the div tag. So by default, you see you can't see the data. Please click the button. So on load, you will see you can't see the data. Please click the button. As soon as you click the button, is visible become true. So this directives works and this directive will not work. So this will be hide and this will be visible on the screen. So let's go and deploy this. So now go to the page, refresh the page. Now you can see by default we are able to see the data that is under the if false directive, because is visible property is false by default, and if false works if the expression is false. And now if I click on show data, is visible property become true and our if true directive work out. So if I see, I click welcome to Zero to Hero series. So this is how if true and if false directive works. So till now we have seen the getter with this if true directive and if false directive with the property. Now we'll see with the getters. So let's go to our VS Code, and now I want input field. So I created an input field here of type text, label I'll say type hello to see the data. Okay, and we'll keep the change handler as our method name. So I'll come here, I'll create a method change handler. As soon as you type something, it will receive an event, and we'll say this dot name equal to event dot target dot value. We'll create a property name that is by default undefined because we are not initializing it with anything. And as soon as you type something, that name value gets updated with the value or the data that you are typing. Now what I want here is I want to show the data only if you have typed hello in the input field. So what I'm gonna do is I'll say hooray, you have typed correctly, and this div will only visible when the condition of our if true directive is true. Okay, and just remember I'm repeating if true directives or all the directives works with the template tags. So now we need some condition here in the or some expression that tells us okay he has typed hello and then render the text. To show this we can use getter here. So I'll say getter method name is, I can give any name. I'll say hello method. I'll give any random method name hello method, and I'll go to a JS file. I'll create a getter now. I'll say get hello method, and it will return true or false based on the condition that I'm gonna write now. So if I say this dot name equal to hello, so it will check whether you have typed hello or not. If you typed hello, this expression returns true. As soon as it receives true, it loads the data. right? So hello method is my getter name, and getter automatically keep an eye when the value change. So as soon as the value updated here, updated value comes here and it evaluate the expression, and the expression value will come to the HTML. So let's deploy this and check this as well. So now it's deployed, and now you can see our input field is there. The label is type hello to see the data. Right now you will not able to see the data. Hooray, you have typed correctly. So if I start typing and I completed hello world, so as soon as you type hello, it immediately show the data, because getter gets called, it evaluates the expression, it sees okay whatever you have typed is hello or not. If yes, it immediately print. And as soon as I change this letter to something else, it will go off. And we are checking everything small. If I type capital hello, it will not work out. So it will only works when you type the correct letter with correct casing. So this is how conditional rendering work with a getter, and you're gonna use this approach many places. So always remember, you can use getters, you can use the properties, and you can use objects. Anything you can use it here. Other thing to remember here is, in JavaScript there are many falsy values, 7 falsy or 8 falsy values are there. So falsy values, so if your property is, suppose your property name is X and it has value 0, it is a falsy value. Or your property has a value called false, that is also a falsy value. If it is undefined, that is also falsy value. If it is null, that is also falsy value. If it is empty quotes, this is also a falsy value. Which means if any time in your property these value exist and you use if true, it always be false, even though it has some value 0, but your if true will always be false, because 0 is a falsy value in JavaScript. And similarly, false, undefined, null, empty string, big O notation, all are falsy values. So just read about it. I already explained in our JavaScript lecture. Okay, so now we know the conditional rendering, how we can hide and show the HTML. So in the next video, we're gonna talk about looping in HTML.